Namaste everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about letting go of fear and letting in abundance. We all experience fear where we feel like we are going towards the worst case scenario, where we feel like that nothing is working out. It's like you are possessed by the fear, and everything that you see in that state becomes fearful because your perception of life becomes of survival. And there is also a scientific reason that humans are always in survival in fear. It's because our ancestors, who were hunters and gatherers, they had to live in constant fear, in constant survival, because there was a threat. But now, there is no threat like that. We are not in constant survival for our life. We are safe, we are secure. So the mind finds another thing outside of yourself, psychological things, problems of tomorrow, fears of tomorrow, to create that fear, to generate that energy of fear, because it's used to it. That's the thing about mind. Whatever it's used to, it feels safe there. So it's messed up. But our mind has been conditioned over the years, over centuries, to feel safe with fear. And it sounds really counterintuitive. It sounds really bad. But that's the truth. That the human being, in a way, likes fear. It feels safe in fear because it has known it for so many years. So that's why it's important that you know yourself beyond this human ego as your higher self, to release all this fear, to end this fear. This is why the first thing that I wanted to talk about today is to reconnect with your higher self. A lot of you might have gone through spiritual awakening, and you might have had experiences where you don't feel any fear. It's like you have transcended it, and you come to a realization that fear is just an illusion, that I don't have to fear anything, especially when you have gone through the process of ego death. But even after that awakening, we still have to live a human life. We have to play the roles. For example, Mike has a particular job. He has to pay his bills. So at the center of all these problems is Mike. But the higher self, your higher being, it is something that is higher than Mike. It is beyond Mike. And it doesn't fear anything because it is not identified with Mike. So this identification plays a huge role. The more identified you are with your human problems, with your human self, there is no distance. When you are identified with something higher, and it's not even identification, it's the truth. Identification happens when you are connected to the false self. And the irony is, the higher seems unrealistic. It seems like a mystery. And the ego seems the reality. But to change your perception a little bit, just think about your dreams. When you're dreaming, you are so engrossed in it. The identification is so real that you create your own life there, the world there, and you are so connected in it that sometimes when you wake up from a dream, it seems like you lost a part of yourself, but it was just a dream. Similarly, in this life, this role of Mike, the example that we took, the role that Mike is playing, all these things that he's doing, what if it's just a play? And the only way to realize that it's a play is to awaken to your higher self, is to create a gap between you and your identity, and to see it as a play, not as some serious thing that is going on. That's the highest way to free yourself from fear, because you are no longer identified with the ego anymore. You have transcended it, you have gone beyond it. But when we are always in a reactionary mode, we are not responding to life, we are always reacting, we are always in search of answers. We are always in our minds. That's why we never have the time to take a pause and go within. We're always running, chasing, searching. So this higher self is not outside. It's not about chasing it. It's your true being. It's who you are at the core. So that's why it's important to just let go and relax into your being. It's important to surrender to the higher power, to not try to control things which are out of your control. And you might have noticed in your life that the more you try to control something, the further it goes away. And the moment you relax into your being, the moment you surrender and you say that I have done my best and now I let go, suddenly answers, solutions, they start coming your way. So reconnect with that higher self by just being with your true self. Now, a lot of people don't even know who they are beyond their name, beyond their identity, beyond their profession, beyond their bills, who they are. They don't have a clue. So that's why it's important to let go of all of these things and just be by yourself. Do the things that bring you joy. Meditation is not something that is for you. The easiest way is to get lost in yourself. Do the things that you love. Do the things that bring you happiness. And the moment you start doing them, you will notice that you are suddenly free. Free of all your stories, free of all your concepts, ideas, identity. And even if for a moment you can tap into that higher consciousness, to that higher self, you will see that there is a separateness, that I am not my problems. And if you are into meditation, the quickest way is to just inquire in your meditation that who am I? Am I this role, or am I something higher? Because the moment you can witness something from a third person perspective, you are not that. Everything that you can witness, everything that you can observe, that becomes the object. And you are the primary subject that is witnessing it all. And that is the higher consciousness, that is the higher self. So you don't have to be identified with the role all the time. When you are free from playing all these roles, why are you stressing over the problems of the role? Because the role will always have the problem. So when you are not involved in playing that role, take the time to get back to the true self, to the true you. It is also called self-actualization, self-discovery, self-realization. Many names are there. The true self, the higher self, is not the ego. It is not the identification with the physical things. And the moment you reconnect with the higher self, suddenly you have the clarity. Even the stress that you had because of the problem, it suddenly goes away because you have a clarity about things. You have a realization that tells you that you need to be patient. You suddenly have some knowing which will guide you. Which brings me to the next thing that I want to talk about. That always choose faith over fear, trust over fear. Because the act of not trusting the process, trusting the universe, trusting what's happening, it's like a mistrust in the universe. We all have experienced moments when we realize that the things that have happened in the past, the way they have happened, it was supposed to happen exactly in the same way. Otherwise, you would not be living the life you are living right now. So it's like there is a huge process that you're going through. There is a huge canvas of life. And every moment you are in a small frame, a small portion of that canvas. And the more you live, the more you move forward, you realize the bigger picture more and more. So by this concept, every moment that you go through, every moment of life is like intertwined with a bigger picture. There is no moment in your life which is meaningless. Everything is happening because it's supposed to happen. So it brings you a huge amount of trust in life, trust in the process of life. It doesn't mean that you don't do anything. You do your best, you give your best, you play the roles, and you use all that you have to give your 100%. But after that, you need to surrender, you need to let go. You don't need to hold on to something that you can't control, which is the outcome. The more energy you give in trying to control the outcome, the more you will drain, the more you will feel that I am powerless. So that's why it's crucial that after giving your 100%, you let go, you surrender. You don't try to change something that you can't change. So relinquish that control and surrender to the higher power and choose faith and trust. And this trust is not just coming from the trust in the universe, higher power, it is coming from the trust in yourself. That you trust your soul's journey. You trust that my soul will never lead me anywhere where I'm not supposed to be. And the moment you develop this trust, you will see that you will have an energy that is free from fear, pressure, stress, confusion, and it will lead you to opportunities that align with your true self. We all have certain values, we all have certain preferences when it comes to energy. And when we are in the vibration of chasing, obsessing, we ignore the values, we ignore our preferences, and we just align with the things that are not for us. But when you trust the process, when you trust yourself, you become patient with your life. And then the universe rewards you with the opportunities that align with you 100%. So don't be in a rush, don't be in a hurry, because a lot of times when we are in fear, the fear makes our perception really bad of the world. It's like in everything we see the worst case scenario, that everything is going bad, everything is working out in the worst way, and we have to do something, we have to act. And in that fear, we make the worst choices. We end up aligning ourselves with people, opportunities, things, energies that are not good for us. And sometimes they teach us a lesson that makes us go through things which are very negative, which create suffering for us. So that's why always remember to trust the process and wait for the aligned thing to come your way. And maybe you will get the clarity and you will know how to attract the right opportunity and what's the right opportunity. So don't be in a rush. Fear is like a virus, and the more you give energy to it, the world becomes fearful. Everything that you see, it becomes fearful. Everything creates fear in you now. You are always afraid now. So the more fearful you become, the less you live. How can you live in fear? You are always afraid. You are just trying to survive. You are not thriving in life. But the more you live from the higher self, the more you trust life, that's when you live life. So the more you live, the less fear you have. The more you trust, the less fear you have. So always trust the higher energies. Don't give your power away to the lower energies. Which brings me to the next thing. Never act on your fear. Yes, acknowledge that the fear is there. Yes, acknowledge that it's trying to control you. Observe it like a witness. Let the fear be the object and you be the subject. You be the center point. You be the awareness, consciousness, watching the fear come and go. Let it pass by. But don't start acting on it. Because the moment you start acting on it, it means you're saying this fear is the truth. Actually, the fear is false evidence appearing real. It's like giving you false evidences and making it seem real. It's like deception. That's what fear is. Deceiving you. Making you oblivious of your own power. That's why when you are in fear, you become afraid of your own power. You start thinking that I am nothing. You feel like an imposter because you are giving too much of your energy to the fears. So don't act when you feel fearful. No matter how much your mind tells you that this is the time, if you don't do something, everything will go in the worst case scenario. Don't listen to it. Just observe it, sit with it, and if possible, find the root. Where is this fear coming from? Maybe it's coming from your childhood trauma. Maybe it's coming from your vulnerable aspects. That's the thing, the fear hits the vulnerable aspects of you. And we all have vulnerable aspects because we don't live in a perfect world. We all have gone through certain amount of trauma in our lives, certain conditioning, and this fear hits those vulnerable aspects and you start feeling that I'm powerless. I don't know what to do anymore. I have to act. And then you act in a very reactive way. You are not responding to life. You lose your center. So that's why at that time, always be centered in your higher self. Find your center and be there. Be the subjective consciousness. Be the witness of that fear and let it come and let it go. Like when you're watching a movie, something really fearful happens, you get really fearful, but you don't get out of the theater, you don't act on it. You know it's a movie. You sit and you watch. And then suddenly some happy moment come and the fear is gone. That's how life is. Life is a cycle of emotions, waves of things that come and go, come and go. It's never the same. That's why the saying, this too shall pass, is really powerful. Because nothing remains the same in this world. Everything is a flux, everything is changing. Nothing remains the same. It can't. So don't be afraid of this ever changing nature of life. Find peace in that. Life is temporary. Change is the only law in this universe. So find beauty in that and always adapt to change. Always be ready. Don't be afraid of life. The ego will always make you afraid. It will always tell you change is bad. Be afraid of the unknown. But that's where the magic lies. That's what your spirit is here for. The soul wants to experience all the possibilities of life. It finds the beauty in the insecure nature of life. So don't give in to the fearful nature. Always be centered and never act on it. Just go within, take a deep breath, become centered, and just remind yourself this too shall pass. And the more patient you become with this fear, you will notice that a moment comes when it goes away, and suddenly you will feel the clarity. You will then respond to life with awareness, with consciousness, not in a reactive manner. So don't give energy to the fears of the ego. Let the higher self guide you towards the abundance frequency, towards the higher reality. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can like, comment, share. You can also support my work by hitting the thanks button. And please make sure to subscribe. See you in the next video. Much love to you all.